Attention passionate Detroit, Lions fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Detroit Lions' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Detroit Lions fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Detroit Lions fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying attention to the NFL landscape, especially the NFC North, you know that the Detroit Lions have been making some serious waves lately. After a couple of seasons where they managed to reach the divisional round 2 years in a row, the Lions have shifted from being that underdog team that everyone roots for to a bona fide contender in their own right. And that's no small feat. They've been building this momentum quietly but steadily, and now, with a 15-2 season under their belt, it's clear they're not just playing for respect anymore, they're playing to win it all, to go all the way to the Super Bowl. This past offseason, the Lions didn't try to reinvent the wheel. Instead, they doubled down on what was working, focusing on continuity, on keeping that core intact, and subtly upgrading where it was needed. They re-signed key players like linebacker Derek Barnes and wide receiver Tim Patrick, guys who have been integral to their success. It's a move that shows stability, a signal that they believe in the guys who helped them get to this point. They didn't blow up the roster or make flashy signings just for the sake of headlines. Instead, they evaluated their needs carefully, filling in the gaps with quiet but impactful additions like defensive tackle Roy Lopez, linebacker Grant Stewart, and tight end Kenny Yeboah. These are the kinds of moves that often go under the radar but pay off over a full season, especially in a league as competitive as the NFL. And when it comes to the draft, Detroit took a very targeted approach, addressing immediate needs while also looking toward the future. They drafted Tyleik Williams, a first-round defensive tackle from Ohio State, who provides that much-needed beef up front, a guy who can clog running lanes and help rush the passer. They also picked Georgia guard Tate Ratledge in the second round to bolster their offensive line, ensuring quarterback Jared Goff has protection and their run game can keep pushing forward. The draft picks weren't just about filling spots. They were about adding players who could step in quickly and make an impact. They also snagged wide receiver Isaac T. Slaw, though opinions on his potential are mixed. Still, it's clear they're looking for additional weapons and depth, especially at critical positions. Off the field, the Lions have also seen some shifts in their coaching staff, which is always a sign of a team planning to stay at the top. Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, who had been key parts of their coaching staff, moved on to head coaching jobs elsewhere, which meant Detroit had to adapt. The team responded by promoting Kelvin Shepard to lead the defense and bringing back John Morton to oversee the offense. These moves were strategic, choosing familiar faces who understand the team's culture and philosophy, making the transition smoother. But make no mistake, expectations are sky-high now. The Lions aren't just happy to make the playoffs. They want to dominate, they want to contend for the Super Bowl, and everything they're doing points toward that goal. Now, looking ahead, there's one area that's been a little bit of a concern, especially with the injuries and roster gaps. Detroit moved on from Zadarius Smith, a player who, despite his talent, struggled with consistency. Marcus Davenport, another addition, has had issues staying healthy, which is a concern for any team trying to keep that edge rush going. And the top pass rusher, Aiden Hutchinson, is still working his way back from a fractured tibia and fibula, injuries that can be setbacks but also test the resilience of a young star. It's a lot to ask of one guy, especially when you're chasing a championship. But that's where the recent signing of Demarcus Walker comes into play. And folks, this could be a game changer for Detroit. Demarcus Walker, a veteran defensive end, is exactly the kind of steady, reliable presence the Lions need right now. He's someone who has started 29 games for the Chicago Bears over the past 2 seasons and hasn't missed a single snap since 2021. That level of durability is rare in today's NFL, and Walker's numbers might not jump off the page. Just 3.5 sacks in each of the last 2 years. But what he brings is far more valuable than raw sack totals. He's a guy who handles his assignments week in and week out, who can hold the edge against the run, and who can bring pressure when it's most needed. At 6'4" and 280 pounds, Walker is a force in the trenches, someone who does the dirty work without needing the spotlight. What's especially interesting about this signing is that Walker visited Detroit before the draft, which signals that the Lions showed serious interest early on. They didn't pull the trigger then, probably wanting to see how the draft unfolded. But now, with the draft in the rearview and their edge rush depth still a little shaky, it makes so much sense to bring him in. He's still available, comes at a reasonable price, and understands his role perfectly. This isn't a flashy signing to grab headlines. It's a calculated move to strengthen the roster, to add that dependable piece that can step in immediately and perform without fuss. You see, Detroit doesn't need a superstar off the edge right now. They need someone who can log steady snaps, hold up against the run, and bring consistent pressure. And that's exactly what Walker offers. He's a seasoned pro, a guy who can help ease the burden on Hutchinson and provide stability in that rotation. That's the kind of move you make when you're in win-now mode, when every game matters, and every piece has to fit perfectly. The Lions are in a position where they understand that window of opportunity isn't going to stay open forever. They've built a team that's talented, disciplined, and hungry for that ultimate goal. This signing, while not grabbing headlines like a superstar signing might, is a testament to their strategic approach. It's about plugging holes, about giving their stars the room to shine, and about staying ahead of the curve in a very competitive division. With Walker in the fold, Detroit's defensive line looks even more formidable, and that's exactly what you want when the stakes are high, especially as the playoff picture gets clearer. This move also speaks volumes about the culture the Lions are cultivating. They value toughness, reliability, and team-first mentality. Walker exemplifies all of that. He's the kind of player who doesn't need the spotlight to make a difference. He just does his job day after day, play after play. That's the kind of guy you want in the trenches when the games get tight, when bodies start to wear down, and when every single snap counts. And Detroit, with its focus on disciplined, relentless football, is definitely the right place for a player like him. Looking at the bigger picture, this signing is part of a larger strategy. The Lions are not just trying to make the playoffs again, they want to make a statement. They want to be the team that everyone fears in the NFC North, that division rival that's always a thorn in the side. With the talent they have on offense, led by Goff, and their core defense, they're already formidable. But adding someone like Demarcus Walker, that's the kind of move that can push them over the top, giving them that extra edge, that little bit of extra grit and consistency they need to win those close games in January. And let's not forget, Detroit's recent history has been one of steady growth, of building a foundation that's sustainable. They've been smart in their drafts, smart in their signings, and now, with Walker on board, they're filling what was perhaps their last remaining gap on defense. It's not about chasing headlines, but about making every move count, about stacking the deck in their favor for a deep playoff run. That's the kind of leadership and strategic thinking that separates the good from the great in this league. So Lions fans, what do you think about this move? Are you excited to see Walker in that Honolulu blue and silver jersey doing the dirty work up front? Do you believe this signing could be the piece that puts Detroit over the edge? I certainly do. It's a move that shows they're serious about contending, about not just competing but dominating. The Lions have set their sights high, and with this addition, they're sending a clear message to the rest of the league. They're here to stay, and they're here to win. And now, Detroit Lions fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Detroit Lions. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Detroit Lions news. Because in the NFL, every move counts, and the Lions are making sure they stay ahead of the game. Thanks for sticking with us, and let's keep this passion for our team alive and roaring.